So my name is Omar Abasad. It's 1:45 p.m., July 26, 2019. So the post that I made in the Twitter account, RSHINI 911, our mine this morning, I posted some videos about what I heard outside the window. I only looked out because the person was being very, very loud and swearing and talking about women, about torturing women, really. And what I captured on the tape was just a little part of what I heard. There was a lot more swearing, there was a lot more shouting, there was a lot more denigrating terms used about women. I mean, swearing alone is one thing. People will swear, I swear sometimes. But the content of the conversation is about buying and selling and developing women and looking at women. So this is what catches my attention, and this is why I recorded it and I put it out on the YouTube because when I complain to the cops, I get no help. And these types of conversations outside my window causes stress, an enormous amount of stress to me. And this is something that I complained about and on an ongoing basis. So, and it's still going on. Um, Nothing seemed to be working as a deterrent. So the only option I have to um, to keep myself safe, because this sort of conversation escalates into other activities. I'm getting stalked in public. I'm getting harassed in public by criminal-looking people. I'm getting driven out of stores and so on by harassment. The same types of conversations that I held outside the window, I held around me anywhere I go, which makes me feel fearful, unsafe, scared. So I leave. I leave. So the agenda of the conversations outside the window is obviously to make me leave my home. So this has been ongoing. It's been going on and on and on and on and on. I'm harassed. I was harassed at my brother's place when I lived with him back in 2012 to 2013. And at the time, I was working at Triavest, and the harassment was going on there as well. Similar conversations, similar references. Only now, because I've held several positions since then in companies, and companies, because I'm flagged, were monitoring me without telling me, and I was being harassed in the workplace because the reports are being released about me in the workplace. I was being harassed. So the names of the people who took on the responsibility to monitor me in the workplace are being called outside the window, as well as the people who worked with them, the team that worked with them. These names are called and talked about in terms of them monitoring me, and that includes based on the harassment that I hear outside the window inside of my home as well. So the reason I am tweeting is because I am getting absolutely no help from the police. I went to several police stations, to several cops, and absolutely no help in stopping these kinds of conversations around me, especially in my home. My home is supposed to be a place of peace. And even though the loading dock is outside the window, and it's not only outside my window, it's outside of the other units' windows as well. So, um, and there is an amount of noise that is expected because it is a loading dock and people are moving in and out. Um, it's also a place of it's a residential area. It's not commercial, and consideration should be shown to the people who live around. It is their home. It's our homes. Um, uh, Consideration should be and respect should be shown to the environment because it is residential. It's not a commercial environment or in an industrial environment where there are loading docks and people are loading items to be shipped commercially on trucks and so on. This is it's somebody's home, a lot of people's homes. So this is a different. It's different than in a workplace, in a regular workplace. So consideration should be shown for that. Was my point. Now, no, I know I'm going on and on about it, but I've been complaining about it now for about over 10 years. Um, so the content of the conversation is consistent with the types of conversation I complained about. So it's still ongoing. There is talk outside the window and in public spaces that I visit, stores and so on, about the push to have me removed from my home. I heard the cops have an order to remove, and all they have to do is serve it. And of course, the information provided to get that information, to get that writ order, is in the public space. So I'm being harassed about the contents of that submission to get the warrant. A lot of submissions are being made to get me mentally committed. So these submissions, the contents of these files that are submitted to get to request or to justify my getting removed and pulled out are also in the public space. So I am getting harassed everywhere I go, and it's escalating because the more it's done, the more times it's done, and by more people, the more information is put out there. So this is what I'm being harassed about as well. I'm being buried, and this is what it means to be buried. So by the time they're done, I will be mentally committed because I'll be buried. Because there'll be so much information or really misinformation that there'll be absolutely no doubt in a judge's mind that something is wrong with me. Really, there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. Um, Only because I've studied what's going on. There is information on the net about people who's going through the similar targeting program and the technologies that's being used and the tactics that's being used and the agenda of the whole thing. So once you get your mind, your head wrapped around what's going on, and you find ways of dealing with the harassment and the stress and so on, you tend to get a different perspective of what's going on. Um, you never, of course, have control of the situation because every day there's something new comes up that you have to deal with because it's an ongoing targeting program. But you do have control of the way you react to what's going on. And if you are really dedicated in getting control of getting and keeping control of the way you react to situations, then there is no way that this is going to get you in a prison or get you mentally committed, this program. And without boasting, I think I'm getting a handle on that process. So this is the reason I'm able to talk about it this way. I meditate a lot. I study the program. I do a lot of introspective thinking, a lot of forgiving because a lot of people violate you in a lot of different ways. But forgiveness is not enough. You need to take actions to make things change. Um, and by this I mean change within the system. I do not carry weapons because if I have the need to tell somebody in whatever way to stop harassing me, I will do so. But absolutely, absolutely, absolutely do not carry weapons. Don't believe in the need for weapons. Really, if you have your head on straight and you took some courses and read some um, material about how to keep yourself safe and how to use avoidance and alertness and awareness and recognition. You need to master the art of recognizing when to leave and when not to, and how to avoid situations. There is absolutely no need for weapons. Absolutely no need for weapons. So there's no need for wars either, but that's a whole different topic. No need for violence. In the world that we live in as human beings, there's absolutely no need for violence if you really think about it. If you really sit down and think about the way the human mind and human heart works, um, there's absolutely no need for wars and no need for violence because As human beings, we all have the same desires, the same hopes and dreams, the same basic needs, and we all have the same potential for growth, emotional, mental, psychological, and for those who choose spiritual. So I don't carry weapons. Just do not carry weapons. I mean, if somebody wants to do harm to you, there's a million ways they can go about doing it. I will not live in fear either. So, this is the world we live in right now. And not only me, everybody's in it. So there's no need for weapons. For people who are being targeted this way and think they need to retaliate for revenge, don't do it. There's no point because this program is beyond the one person who is violating you. It's way, way, way beyond that. So, for people who are being bullied and harassed, please do not turn to violence. Do not. This is exactly what they want you to do. And this is hard for kids, I know, but I'm just trying my level best to discourage people from using any kind of violence. Violence begets violence too. That's another point. Anyway, so the reason I'm doing this is because there's a need for change. There is a need for um, drastic and urgent changes in the way the world perceives and treats women and children. We seem to be going in the opposite direction. Women have gained a lot of rights and a lot of freedoms, and we need to hold on to that. But not only women are being victimized, kids are being victimized more and more, sexually, for labor, in other ways. So there is an urgent need for change. The world seemed to be going in the opposite direction, where slavery and violence and the expression of hatred seemed to be more accepted, when just the opposite should be happening. The feminine should be um, in the forefront right now because the feminine aspect of our personality is needed more now than ever before. So that means love, empathy, um, um, helping others. These are not really feminine qualities. These are just good qualities, human qualities. These are the qualities that we should be teaching and practicing. And the more we are violated, the more we should be practicing them. Not the uh, don't turn into the thing that you're fighting against. Because if you're being violated more and more and more, it means that you're representing just the opposite of what the people who are violating you, the reason they're violating you. It's just the opposite. So it's really like a kind of um, you know good versus evil sort of situation. You're being violated because they want to bring you down. They being the perpetrators for whatever reason, want to bring you down, degrade you, dehumanize you, only because you're just the opposite of what they're trying to do. Because um, you're accomplished, you're smart, you're empathetic, you sympathize with people, you help people, you love people. This is why you're getting degraded and dehumanized. So if you're being targeted, then in a very, very, can't find a right word, in a crazy sort of way, it's a compliment. So because the people and the entities who are targeting you are really representing the dark side, evil, satanic. Because let's face it, I mean, raping a child is just pure satanic. It's pure evil. Raping a 1 year old, a 6 month old baby. This is, I just can't find the words to describe the depth and degree of evil it takes to do that. The spirit that is living in a human body is not really human. It's animal. So anyway, I just wanted to say that there is no nobody in this building or anywhere else for that matter is in danger of me. In fact, my life is in danger because there is the use of remote technologies like lasers, tasers, microwaves that will give you heart attacks, strokes, aneurysms, instant pain, will disable you instantly, could cause you to fall because if your knees are hit, could cause you to spill hot things on yourself and burn yourself because your wrists are hit, and so on. So you're the one who's in danger, really. You're the one who's being stalked. You're the one who's being targeted and harassed. So it's switched, really. It's the situation is switched when it's reported because that's the way it's intended to be. What the perpetrators are doing to you, they report you're doing to them, and this is what they're supposed to do. So really, they know, the people who are doing these reports know that they're not in danger. They're not in danger of the person they're targeting. There's no switching, and there is no breaking down, and there is no flipping, and there is no going over the edge. At least with me, if this program is run on people who do not have a very structured and stable upbringing with parents' love, then yeah, maybe it will work to to turn that person to into doing violent things. With me, it will not work. In fact, it will do just the opposite. Because the more I'm violated and the more I'm being harassed and the more I'm targeted, I will turn just the opposite. The more empathetic I will be, the more helpful I will be, the stronger I will become spiritually. I will speak out louder and more frequently. I will work with the system to change it from within because there is need for change. There is need for drastic change, urgent change. And I will definitely contribute to that change any which way I can, working with the system. Talk to you another time.